Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement. Agriculture on the Move. I am Philip Sidney, your host. Today we are discussing a very, and I stress on it, a very important topic. And that affects all of us. I'm talking about stray animals in public places on our roads. And when I say stray animals, I'm not only referring to cows, I'm referring to horses, donkeys, etc. And we will explain to you. But with me to discuss this topic is, to my right is Dr. Charmaine Melville Edwin, who is our acting chief vet officer. And next to her is Columbus Philippi, if I may call him that way, our acting animal husbandry officer. Welcome to the program, lady and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Sidney.
Thank you. This is close to me. It's a soft point for me. I'm passionate about it because I think I was on the receiving end of a cow almost jumping on my vehicle, and it smashed my bonnet and everything like this. Luckily, I was able to get the owner, you know. But some drivers are not so lucky to get the owner to come forth. Okay, we have had people dying on the road. I remember there was a guy who was riding a motorcycle and he hit a cow on the shock bridge, and that vehicle burst into flames and he got burnt to death. And so that is serious, people. You know, it's serious. So, I mean, I know years ago, give us some history here, because I know years ago, the Department of Agriculture, they started something. I knew there were maybe a pound available, they were impounding animals. Columbus, tell us, maybe you would have some history in that regard.
From my recollection, early in the 90s, there was a pound at Union, and there was also one at Bosiju in the south. As to how it was discontinued, I'm not too certain. But there was that facility where impounded animals was kept. I can recall imported animals was kept at Union once upon a time.
But the thing about it is like nothing is our business until it reaches crisis. You know, every time you know something happens on the road, boy, look, we need to act on it. And then after a while, it just, you know, the flame is out. Doc, tell me, what's about the ministries moving forward? How is the ministry going to deal with this situation, or the Department of Agriculture?
Well, good day again, Mr. Sidney. Thanks for having us on this program today. There has been legislation for quite a while. The Animals Act, Sections 3, as well as Sections 4, speak to animals that are wandering, animals that are stray on our roadways, as well as public places. Because the issue is not only on the highways and the roadways, but also in other public places where these animals can become a nuisance. And so the legislation speaks to these animals which can cause, animals being on the roadways, but also animals which are close to the roadways to the point where they may cause harm or injury to persons, to pedestrians and drivers. It even speaks to animals that are tied too close to the roadways, because these animals, again, if the ropes are, you know, the distances are close enough, they can also pose a hazard. So the legislation speaks to persons who own these animals committing an offense and being and can face a fine of as much as $5,000 and up to 2 years imprisonment. That's a possibility.
Or both.
So the legislation also speaks to a pound, and as we heard, there was a pound in place many years ago. Don't know what happened after that, but many years ago there was a pound. So the ministry now has seen it fit to more or less, I can't say establish, but re-establish a pound,
Okay.
so that animals which are a hazard, which are posing a threat to pedestrians, to the public, can be impounded and will be impounded. That means they'll be taken off of the roadways. There will be a pound keeper in place to maintain and to upkeep and to carry out the work of the pound. As per the legislation also speaks to a pound keeper. And so there will be a process to that, which we will speak to moving forward. So of course there has to be a sensitization campaign, which I'm sure we're going to speak to also. So Ministry is looking at now re-establishing that pound. We have begun the process. We're hoping to start by December to have that pound in place, that animal pound in place, that animals can be impounded.
Bon, Philippe, on parle de créole parce que le monde voilà, tu passes ça c'est bah qui est important en chai. L'année en chai monde qui les animaux et ces animaux ça que you des ni laji, ces animaux ça pas maré. Et ma quoi you connaît et you savent moi quoi you savent ça bien on savent parce que you savent chai machine à croiser et mon amour. Dis-nous ça département agricole café pour moun qui ni animaux qui ça une uni pour faire.
Oui. Eh bien, responsabilité c'est à sous moun qui ni animaux. Gens qui nourrit les animaux. Ils ont une responsabilité pour assurer que les animaux yo restent en savane yo. Ici sous pas ni en code ou quand ils mettent fence ou quand ils mettent barrade.
Mettre un pack.
Mais un pack. Quand ils pour chipper à pack. Depuis ou quand les animaux vivent tout partout, quand venir sur grand chemin en gouvernement ou jaka fait en offense. Et offense ça là, où ça prend la jole pour délaner et bon ça trouver condamné $5,000 et bien tous les deux. Et ça c'est bagay qui sort parce qu'on dit ça dit mon ja pède la vie yo, pède propriété yo et avec bagay comme ça.
You know, for me it's simple. You own animals, keep them in the fence or you tie them. If they stray away, then you can impound it. That's as far as I see it. So here we in a sensitization mood now. Okay, what it is that is in place now, I know we have. We're supposed to be engaged the farmers, have meetings with them because they need to be aware of what's happening. Okay, I think that's the first side. I don't think we should be draconian to just go and impose. I think there should be discussion. So what it is that the department is doing presently?
That is a very, very good point. A consultative process is always necessary. So we've met with at least two groups of cattle farmers because we know that the cattle farmers are one of the main protagonists in this. The cattle is one of the major species that we see roaming on our roads. And so we've met with these particular farmers in the north of the island. We've met with them to explain the process to them. We've met with farmers in the south as well. We had a very good discussion with the farmers in the south. They explained to us what their concerns were. They understood basically that they need to get the animals off the roadways. They understood that. Okay, but they explained to us what their constraints were, and so we're working with them to see how we can help them mitigate some of these issues moving forward.
Okay, so from that, what's the next move? I know there is talk about signage.
Right.
Apart from the consultative process, you know, there's television ads and of course discussions like that too. But that is also letting the public know what's going on.
Right.
Okay, so moving forward, what else?
So all of this is part of the public awareness and sensitization campaign. Having this particular program with you today, PSAs on the airways, that people know what the fines are, that it is an offense. I mean, as Mr. Philippi said, a lot of farmers are aware of what they need to do, but now they need to be aware that the authorities, we are going to enforce the legislation basically. So farmers need to put the necessary procedures in place, need to restrain their animals, if they have to set up, as you said, fences and so on, they need to put whatever they need to do whatever needs to be done to keep the animals off the roads. So of course we will be putting up signage in strategic areas across the island. That is part of the plan, to sensitize and make people aware so that they can do what needs to be done.
I think there's another, some other things that you normally do. I know years ago there was tagging of the animals, there's branding. Because if, for example, a vehicle comes into contact with untagged animal in terms of ownership, right, how are you able to know who owns that animal? I'm thinking here, years ago the ministry used to have branding. I remember I used to, when I was in the South, we used to brand animals and we had them, you know, we had a database, right? So how can that help in the process?
With the branding of animals, we no longer do the branding.
Okay.
But the ministry is seeking to undergo an identification program of all animals, whether cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, whatever, on island. Right. And it's an opportune time for persons to come forward, because we have the tags available, make the request, and then the veterinary services will come to your farm, establish a database with you, so that you can get all your animals identified. Okay. And with this process, it will be easier for tracing of animals in case that animals find themselves in accidents or find themselves straying, then you can relate to the owner of the animal.
Yeah, because I think that is important, and there are more than one reason for tagging, I'm sure.
Yes, I can give you a very, very good example. This is part of what we want to start, our national animal identification program. But I can give you a very good example. Recently, an animal was stolen, and the animal was found by pretty larceny. They found an animal in the, I think, Dennery area, and the animal had a tag on it, because when they contacted our office, we were able to identify the owner of the animal, because this is one of the animals that was tagged by our unit. Yes, yes. And some farmers have already taken that initiative on their own and called us and said, you know, I would like to have my animals tagged. And they've even taken the initiative to purchase their own tags, and we come in and assist them. But we can also provide, these are services we provide for farmers. And we're encouraging persons to get their animals identified. It's also traceability, not just for to know identify the owner, but for traceability in the food system.
Right, yes.
It's important.
It's very important moving forward. For food safety purposes. You can identify and trace that animal from farm to fork.
Okay. The other thing too is, with that problem in existence for such a long time, are you all getting any resistance from the farmers that you all deal with, who themselves are causing the hazard? I mean, do you all have a good relationship with them?
Generally, yes, we do have a relationship with those farmers or cattle owners. Because we provide a service which they are in need of.
They need,
So from time to time, they will have their injuries, they will have their situation with diseases. We on the ground.
So how come they don't take the advice?
Well, it's a matter of reluctance, and probably they do not see the bigger picture, where you have to have concern for the community. If you have concern for the community, then you eliminate those kind of attitudes.
Because I mean,
there will always be some pushback. I mean, a lot of farmers will tell you they love to see their animals just free, roaming freely.
But you don't have land.
But that is the issue. When you are a landless farmer,
you're a landless farmer.
You cannot allow your animals to just stray and wander.
Exactly. Okay, in a situation where, because that's one of the things that came up, where farmers are saying, okay, they're landless, and they're saying, okay, government should assist them with land. I mean, how do you all see that? I know it's a ticklish question, but then moving forward, if that comes to the fore, and then government yields to that, then you're opening a whole book there, because other persons will say, look, I want to build. You understand? So I don't think, my point is, if you have your animals, you're a landless farmer, somebody give you a piece of land to squat or to graze your animals, just keep your animals under control.
In other words, what you're saying, the land must come first. So if you have land, then you raise animals.
Exactly. I cannot see you. It's like the chicken and the egg. I mean, why you want to raise animals and you don't have land? You understand? And then I can tell you, a lot of those persons who are landless cattle owners, they have an attitude. I can tell you that. They have a serious attitude, because they figure they have rights. But what I don't think they also need to know. The animals are innocent.
And that is,
I mean,
I'm
come
happy
on.
about this Sydney, because that's also a major issue for us, animal welfare. As a veterinary division, our concern is not just for productivity, production in livestock, not just about food security and food and nutrition for the public, but we're also concerned about human life, as well, human health, human life, as well as animal health.
Exactly.
And animal welfare. So having animals wandering and being involved in accidents so frequently is of concern to us, because you have incidents where animals get hit by a vehicle, they're left at the side of the road, they're left suffering at the side of the road. You know, it's of concern to us.
You're due for a break, because I'll give you some instances that's very, very touching. You're watching Agriculture The Move. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
Accident encore. Mi de bœuf mon là, on go taureau et puis yon belle vache. Des machines croisées et moun blessé. Ah non, messieurs et dames, bagay sa la kani pou du bout. Stray animals are endangering human lives and property. Livestock owners, please ensure animals do not stray on roads, highways, and public places. Remember, sections of the Animals Act 2005 states stray animals will be seized and put in a pound by authorized persons. Owners will be liable to a fine of $5,000 or 2 years imprisonment or both. Save innocent animals. Save human lives and property. A message from the Department of Agriculture.
Welcome back to the program, Agriculture on the Move. Like I said, we are discussing a very important topic today. Stray animals on our roads are causing a lot of problems. And with me is Dr. Melville and also Columbus from the Vet and Livestock Division attached to the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries, Natural Resources, and the cooperatives. You know, the last point you made before the break, Dr. Melville, the cow that I got into contact with, the cow, it got on the bonnet of the vehicle. It reached the windshield. And when I stopped, it skidded away for about another 10 or 15 feet. The cow stood and you can see when an animal is suffering. You know the sad part of this?
Yes.
You know, they try to get not you all involved, but get the home medication, okay? And the cow was not doing well for about almost 3 or 4 weeks. And they slaughtered the cow for sale.
So in instances like this, typically the police gets involved. The police would call us. We would do an assessment of the animal, determine whether the animal can be treated. If the treatment is necessary, we do that, provide that treatment. But also we do an assessment of health. If the injuries sustained by the animal are life-threatening, and the animal needs to be euthanized, put down, we will do an emergency slaughter. If necessary, we'll ask for that. Okay. Or, if that cannot be done, we'll carry out humane euthanasia of the animal. The animal will be humanely put down. And I stress humanely put down.
Okay. All right. Moving forward, action. The department is taking action now. All right. One, I think they have recognized a pound handler, or what you call it? A pound keeper. Okay. That pound, are you going to say where it's going to be kept?
Yes, the pound will be in the Bexar area.
Okay, all right. And how soon can that process start?
We were looking at December. As soon as December.
What? 1st of December?
Well, as early as that.
Okay. So you all okay. So the sensitization starts from now. Okay.
Yes,
until.
Until.
Ongoing process.
As you said, I agree with that, an ongoing process.
Okay.
To continue to sensitize
the
public.
So the pond keeper, okay, where are your hotspots?
In terms of animals wandering on the highways, everybody, I think the entire population of St. Lucia knows of the shock area in Castries. The animals are permanent residency.
True.
Okay? They even go to the cinema.
Yes, they do. They do.
So I think these are the hotspots in the Millennium Highway cul-de-sac.
Yes.
It's also an area, as well as in the south. Is it St. Jude Highway?
Right.
And also the Cocodan area.
Cocodan area.
Yeah, these are the hotspots.
Okay. All right. How soon are the signage will probably be put up?
I cannot give you exact dates
but that is
that is coming up as soon as possible.
Okay. The pound keeper, what he does, he roams the area. How does that work?
So in cases where there is, for example, a vehicular accident, the police are called in, we need to impound an animal, there is an offense, an animal needs to be impounded, the pound keeper will be called in to basically detain and impound that animal. Animals that are found, again, wandering on the roads, the pound keeper will be authorized to collect these animals.
So say you're on your way to your office at Union, and you get to the roundabout, and there are about 8 or 10 cows on the roundabout. What would you do? You would call the pound?
That is the intention, to inform the pound keeper and to basically get those animals off the roadways. Okay. That is why we're trying our best right now to sensitize the public and sensitize the farmers to do what needs to be done, to take responsibility of their livestock, and do what needs to be done to keep the animals away from the roads. We want to safeguard human lives and property as well. And we also want to safeguard the animals.
The animals, yes. The pound keeper comes into a problem with a ferocious animal, okay? That is, of course, straying the roads. How does he deal with that?
The pound keeper, I guess, should have certain competence in handling animals.
Okay.
Also have the necessary equipment and transportation facility.
Can you shoot them?
No. I don't think he will be authorized to.
But on a serious note,
in the event that there is an animal that cannot be restrained, the police will be called in.
Oh, that's what I was about to ask.
The police will be called in, and yes, the animal can be put down by the police.
But you all don't have any, what do you call it? Tranquilizer that?
No.
Okay.
Again, there's a certain level of training that is needed for you to handle these sort of devices.
Okay.
So the police will be called in to handle that one.
All right. So the pound handler decides he takes in 3, 4, 5 animals in his pound. Okay. How long does it stay there? Does it stay there indefinitely? What happens from there?
The pound keeper has about 5 days?
4
days?
5
4 to 5 days to keep the animal within the pound.
And what happens after?
After that, the pound keeper has a duty to put up the animal for auction.
So the animal goes up for auction?
If no one comes to claim that animal.
Okay.
And additionally, the pound keeper has to, when the animal is impounded, this information has to be gazetted so that the public is aware that an animal has been impounded, so that the owner can then come in and make a claim that he's aware that his animal is impounded, so he can come in and make a claim.
All right. So somebody comes in and make a claim, and this is not the genuine owner. What happens?
Well, there is giving false information is an offense. That is an offense. There are fines and punishments for giving false information. But the person who's coming in to say that this is my animal has to show proof of ownership. However that proof may be, you need to show that you own animals.
If you give false information and you obtain the animal from the pound for giving false information to the pound keeper, you have committed an offense. Right. So you could be prosecuted for that.
Okay, and this Akoyol. So, Philippe, Dino, Buglatin ni authority a pour princer les animaux à Sochimia, il mène en place li, ok? Qui ça a fait d'après ça?
Les mène les animaux, les petits animaux à la prise, et qui mène là. Il a fait un notice en gazette là, il y a des animaux, il y a 4 animaux, si c'est mâle, si c'est femelle, qui approche, il a jugé l'âge et tout, peut-être qu'il y a un femelle bœuf qui est supposé à least 5 l'année. Et bien, un chiniste, un taureau, il blé, il noie, il coulait, il y a un compte qui est cassé. S'il y a un tag, il y a un tag là. S'il y a un macanlay, il y a un bouton là. Tout ça, ça, ouais.
So, tout ça, information ça, calé à ce gazette là?
À gazette là. Il nous mettait à gazette là. Et puis, pour un monde, ouais, qui est en gazette là. Si vous un jour amassez gazette là, bon, vous voyez ouais ça en gazette là. Vous dites, ça les animaux qui étaient là. Où ça allait réclamer les animaux ça.
Là
réclamer les animaux ça. Vous nous payer
$5,000.
Non, c'est pas $5,000. Vous nous payer toutes ces là maintenant. Parce que pour Chébé là, nan yon kos.
Pour bay manger.
Because moun nan ki ni la,
Right.
ni pou bay zanimo sa manger, pas ça just mette là, ni pou couper zet bal, ni pou bay manger, ni pou bay glow, ni pou mette dans fence pour make sure it's secure because ou pas kay point mette like just daji à the servant pour n'importe moun venir voler. Pour ni mette en bas security tout bay. So responsibility aussi à ce moun nan ki ka au chiper zanimo pour gwe ki dat zanimo sa rester en bonne condition.
D'accord.
So les moun sa venir réclamer zanimo, il kay zanimo en bonne condition.
So, Doc, can you tell the listening public in English, you know, I mean, when that animal gets there, what is the pound keeper, what does he have to do to ensure the animal is safe and sound?
The pound keeper is also responsible for keeping records. All of the information that Mr. Philippi gave you, these have to be recorded. So he has to keep records of all these animals, record information on the animals, characteristics, and so on and so forth. He has to ensure that the animals are well fed and taken care of. Water, food, proper shelter, and all of the other specifications are necessary to ensure the proper well-being of these animals while they're kept, for the time that they are kept there for the 4 days prior to auction. And of course, all of the finances that are spent in taking care of these animals has to be all the cost that is going to be incurred to take care of these animals. The animal owner, when he comes in to claim his animal, has to pay.
In addition to the 5,000?
No, the 5,000 is on condition of being prosecuted.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, hold on. Okay. So, okay, I come to claim my cow, right? What happens?
You would need to, again, first of all, show proof of ownership, explain, show that you own the animal.
Okay.
And there is a legal process that has to go through. There's a legal process that has to go through. So then it goes to court, is it? I don't work with the
okay, there's a legal process. Okay.
But there is a legal process that has to go through.
And if I am guilty, he's fine. $5,000. That's what you're saying.
Certain offenses will require, on the first instance, there are certain offenses, on the first instance, you are charged $500 for the least, $5,000 for the most. It's a range.
Oh, it's a range. Okay,
it's a range.
Okay.
And if you repeat the offense, then you'll be charged $1,000 for the least.
Okay.
And $5,000 for the at the most.
Wow. Okay.
But I will leave that legal matter for the legal mindset.
As I want to end, final words from you.
I just want to encourage farmers to be responsible owners, responsible livestock owners, take responsibility for their animals, to ensure that the animals are well taken care of, not only to protect the animals, but to protect human lives
and property.
Yeah, so respect human lives, respect person's property by taking care of your animals.
Denis, mon parole.
Oui, moi kay quitter commissaire public là pour moun ka nourrir animaux qui pas ka chebe dans parc qui pas ka chebe à son propriétaire eux même. On a une responsabilité comme docteur Melvin dit pour assurer que les animaux restent en bonne condition pour sauver la vie. La vie, c'est la vie famille.
Oui, d'accord.
Et puis, ça c'est important. Parce que l'âge arrivé pour le gouvernement qui sortir about ça.
Merci. Well, Doc, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Philippe, thank you for being here. I wish you all success. And I wish your people out there, that's very serious, tie your animals. Just tie them, fence them, so that they don't cause problems to your brothers and your sisters and your friend, right? Who may be on the road at night and then get into an accident. Thank you for viewing. Remember, agriculture is our business. Eat fresh, St. Lucia's best. I'm Philip Sidney. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, shake hands.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.